In Portland, people use a lot of words to describe the homeless crisis. Frustrating, inexcusable, ugly. Imagine all those people have never met Denise Martin. Beautiful, dazzling, magical, and that's just her harp.
And no matter how much money I have, I can't get into housing. My credit's bad, my rental history's bad, and I feel like I'm in quicksand and poverty is eating me.
Denise knows that her story is just one facet of this roughly cut part of the city. Others here face addiction and mental illness.
Once you get down here, really hard to keep your sanity.
A point she can't stress enough to those trying to help.
But most of all, we need to delineate those groups. Who's too mentally ill that needs care somehow? Who has a drug addiction that needs help? Who wants a job but doesn't have a phone or a bath or a way to communicate with Amazon? And after we do that triage, then we can figure out how to help. But to lump us all in the same category is ludicrous. Look at me, I'm not your average homeless person.
Between this and her day job, Denise says she hasn't had time to connect with social services for help.
It's way more complicated than people think.
Instead, she's focused now on finding someplace warm and dry to play music in this winter.
Tonight, we got a ton of feedback last night after the show. We focused on the crisis in Old Town, and it hit a nerve with a lot of people. We showed you the tents and the homelessness and the suffering and the addiction and the mental illness and the violence, everything. We spoke to the executive director of Lawn Su, the beautiful Chinese garden down there, about the threats that she faces every day trying to keep her staff and her patrons safe.
I have had staff in the last week assaulted. I have had staff in their cars chased with people chasing after them with metal pipes. We had somebody die on the streets right next to Lawn Su. We have had gunshots. All of this is too much to ignore and not address.
Portland's been battling a housing crisis for close to 6 years. Amid the pandemic, things seem to have gotten worse than ever.
I was on a housing list when the COVID thing hit.
The latest data collected in 2019 shows more than 2,000 people are sleeping on the streets in Multnomah County. Officials have made it clear they need all hands on deck.